While many are familiar with the heartbreaking death of iconic singer Whitney Houston, fewer know that her daughter, Bobby Christina Brown, met a chillingly similar fate just a few years later. Both mother and daughter died under unnatural circumstances, both involving bathtubs, and both were entangled in romances that those close to them deemed dangerously predatory. Shockingly, one of these figures was even implicated in court for playing a role in one of the tragedies. Dive into the mystery and heartbreak as we unravel the tragic and haunting parallels between the deaths of Whitney Houston and her daughter. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Let's go. Early days. Whitney Elizabeth Houston was born on August 9, 1963, at Presbyterian Hospital in Newark, New Jersey, to a talented family deeply rooted in music. Her mother, Emily "Sissy" Houston, was a Grammy-winning gospel and soul singer who not only performed with the Drinkard Singers, but also founded the Sweet Inspirations before embarking on a successful solo career. Her father, John Russell Houston, Jr., was a former Army serviceman who later served as an administrator under the Newark mayor. Nicknamed Nippy by her father, Whitney grew up in a household rich with musical influences. Both of her parents were African American, with Sissy Houston revealing that she had partial Dutch and Native American ancestry. This diverse heritage connected Whitney to a notable musical legacy. Through her mother, she was a cousin to singers Dionne and Dee Dee Warwick and a distant cousin of opera star Leontine Price. Additionally, legendary singer Aretha Franklin was considered an honorary aunt, while Darlene Love served as her godmother. Whitney's family history also included a significant legacy of activism. Her paternal great-great-grandfather, Jeremiah Burke Sanderson, was an American abolitionist dedicated to advocating for the civil and educational rights of Black Americans in the mid-19th century. Growing up with three older brothers, paternal half-brother John III, maternal half-brother Gary, a former basketball player and singer, and her brother Michael, Whitney was surrounded by a supportive family that nurtured her talents from an early age. The Houston family made a significant move to a suburban area of East Orange just 3 years after the Newark race riots of 1967. This transition marked a new chapter in their lives, although it would eventually lead to the divorce of Whitney's parents. Raised in the Baptist faith, Whitney's musical journey began early. At just 5 years old, she joined the church choir at New Hope Baptist Church in Newark, where she also learned to play the piano. Her formative years were enriched by exposure to the nearby Pentecostal church, adding depth to her musical experience. Whitney made her solo performance debut at New Hope, singing the hymn, "Guide Me, O Thou Great Jehovah," at the age of 12, a moment that foreshadowed her future stardom. As a teenager, Whitney expressed her desire to pursue a music career to her mother. Sissy took on the role of her vocal coach, nurturing her talent during these pivotal years. Influenced by a range of artists including Chaka Khan, Gladys Knight, and Roberta Flack, alongside her mother and cousins, Whitney's musical style began to take shape. Whitney attended Franklin Elementary School, now known as the Whitney E. Houston Academy of Creative and Performing Arts, before transferring to Mount St. Dominic Academy, a Catholic girls' high school in Caldwell, New Jersey, by 6th grade. She graduated from Mount St. Dominic in 1981, laying the groundwork for what would become an extraordinary career in music. She began singing in the choir at her church, the New Hope Baptist Church in Newark, as a young child, and by the age of 15 was singing backing vocals professionally with her mother on Chaka Khan's 1978 hit, "I'm Every Woman." She went on to provide backing vocals for Lou Rawls, Jermaine Jackson, and her own mother, and worked briefly as a model, appearing on the cover of 17 magazine in 1981. She began working as a featured vocalist for the New York-based funk band Material, and it was the quality of her vocal work with them that attracted the attention of the major record labels, including Arista, with whom she signed in 1983 and where she stayed for the rest of her career. Her debut album, Whitney Houston, was released in 1985 and became the biggest-selling album by a debut artist. Several hit singles including Saving All My Love for You, How Will I Know, You Give Good Love, and The Greatest Love of All were released from the album, setting her up for a Beatles-beating 7 consecutive U.S. number ones. The album itself sold 3 million copies in its first year in the U.S. and went on to sell 25 million worldwide, winning her the first of her 6 Grammys. The 1987 follow-up album, Whitney, which included the hits Where Do Broken Hearts Go and I Want to Dance with Somebody, built on her success, but it was the 1992 film The Bodyguard, 1992, that sealed her place as one of the best-selling artists of all time. While the movie itself and her performance in it were not highly praised, the soundtrack album and her cover of the Dolly Parton song I Will Always Love You topped the singles and albums charts for months and sold 44 million copies around the world. That same year, she married ex-New Edition singer Bobby Brown, with whom she had her only child, their daughter Bobby Christina Brown, in March 1993. It was about this time that her much-documented drug use began, and by 1996 she was a daily user. Her 1998 album, My Love Is Your Love, was well-reviewed, but the drug abuse began to affect her reputation, and press reports at the time said that she was becoming difficult to work with, if she turned up at all. She was dropped from a performance at the 72nd Annual Academy Awards, 2000, because she was out of it at rehearsals. Her weight fluctuated wildly. She was so thin at a Michael Jackson tribute in 2001 that rumors circulated the next day that she had died, and her voice began to fail her. She was twice admitted to rehab and declared herself drug-free in 2010, but returned to rehab in May 2011. Her 2009 comeback album, I Look to You, was positively received and sold well, but promotional performances were still marred by her weakened voice. Her final acting performance was in Sparkle, 2012, a remake of the 1976 movie Sparkle, 1976, released after her death. Beyond her remarkable talent and global fame, Whitney Houston was a woman of deep faith, personal life. Houston was a devoted Christian, and she made it a point to sing gospel songs during all of her live concert tours, highlighting her deep-rooted faith. In the 1980s, her personal life garnered attention as she was linked romantically to several high-profile figures, including musician Jermaine Jackson, American football star Randall Cunningham, and actor Eddie Murphy. However, it was at the 1989 Soul Train Music Awards that she met R&B singer Bobby Brown. After a whirlwind 3-year courtship, the couple married on July 18, 1992. Their relationship was a blend of love and turbulence, as they occasionally collaborated on music, including the hit record Something in Common. However, Brown's struggles with the law, including arrests for drunken driving, drug possession, and battery, cast a shadow over their marriage. On March 4, 1993, Houston and Brown welcomed their daughter, Bobby Christina Brown, the couple's only child. Houston opened up about her personal challenges in a 1993 interview with Barbara Walters, revealing that she had experienced a miscarriage while filming The Bodyguard. Throughout their marriage, the couple attempted to expand their family, but Houston faced several heartbreaking miscarriages, including one in July 1994 and another in December 1996. This tumultuous journey highlighted both the struggles and joys Houston encountered as she balanced her career and family life. In December 2003, Bobby Brown faced serious legal troubles when he was charged with battery following a violent altercation with Whitney Houston, during which he threatened to beat her and ultimately assaulted her. Police noted visible injuries on Houston's face, highlighting the tumultuous nature of their relationship. Despite these challenges, the couple's life together was documented in the reality show Being Bobby Brown, which began filming in April 2004 and premiered on Bravo in June 2005. The series attracted a mix of criticism and high ratings, as viewers were drawn to the couple's candid moments, though some critics felt it showcased unflattering aspects of their lives. Houston eventually opted out of continuing with the show, leading to its cancellation after just one season. By September 2006, the strain on their marriage had become too much to bear. Houston filed for legal separation from Brown, followed by a divorce filing the next month, citing irreconcilable differences. The divorce was finalized on April 24, 2007, marking the end of a turbulent chapter in both their lives. In order to make up for her perceived absence, Houston brought her daughter to her musical performances as often as she could. As well, she could often be seen bringing her daughter up with her onto the stage. The relationship that Houston began sharing with her daughter mirrored the relationship that Houston herself had shared with her own mother. Houston's mother had been a backup singer, working with artists such as Aretha Franklin and Elvis Presley. Houston has recalled her mother being absent for long periods of time. Soon after the birth of her daughter, Houston jumped right back into both music and film, achieving greater Hollywood recognition with 1995's Waiting to Exhale and 1996's The Preacher's Wife. Although the singer was keen on keeping up appearances while on the stage, Houston was using quite a bit of drugs during these years. This was a common pattern in Houston's life, but her daughter was becoming old enough that she could now begin to notice when her mother wasn't acting right. Despite her public success and the joy of motherhood, Whitney Houston's struggles with substance abuse continued to cast a shadow over her personal life. She had always had a problem with substance abuse, and it didn't go away when her daughter was born. Her husband, Bobby Brown, has recalled that her substance abuse issues only seemed to become exacerbated by the birth of their daughter. He has admitted to taking drugs with his wife while their daughter was around, memories that have caused him a great deal of remorse over the years. Fans were given an unprecedented view into the family's personal in 2005, when the reality television series Being Bobby Brown started airing. This show followed Bobby Brown, Whitney Houston, and Bobby Christina as they navigated family life together. People soon began noticing that it seemed as if both Bobby and Whitney were often visibly intoxicated around their young daughter, much to the daughter's alarm and embarrassment. Many began to fear that things weren't going to end well for the family. Over time, Whitney Houston and Bobby Brown painted themselves to the public as a couple with their fair share of issues. Between domestic disputes, rumored infidelities, and the aforementioned substance abuse problems, the two seemed to have a good deal of trouble keeping themselves out of the tabloids. Although the two seemed to lean into this attention with Being Bobby Brown, it wasn't too surprising in 2007 when the couple ended up calling it quits on their marriage. The two were divorced, a process that resulted in Houston gaining custody of Bobby Christina. The two then moved to a house in Atlanta, Georgia, where Houston attempted to kick the substance abuse habits that had marred her family relationships previously. However, life seemed to have other ideas. With Brown gone, a shadowy figure stepped in to become the new man of the house for Houston and her daughter. This man was Nick Gordon. Gordon was deemed an unofficial godson for Houston and promptly moved in with the singer and her 14-year-old daughter. Many began speculating about the strange domestic situation. Houston could often be seen making public appearances intoxicated, being shepherded around by her young daughter. Apparently, Gordon was the one who was getting them drugs, making the relationship especially dubious. Gordon himself was a teenager at the time, having been born in 1990. This made him only a few years Bobby Christina's senior. Still, Gordon's presence seemed to have a negative effect on the young girl. Family members have suggested that Gordon was the one who introduced Bobby Christina to drugs, with few people ever seeing her intoxicated before she met the young man. In late 2011, she could be seen working with her mother in the studio on a few tracks, trying to come into prominence as a musician herself. This dream of working with her mother was going to be cut short only a few months later, in February of 2012. On February 11th of 2012, Whitney Houston was found dead in the bathroom of the Beverly Hilton Hotel. She was lying unresponsive in the bathtub, then pronounced dead at the scene. At the time of her death, the singer was only 48 years old. A later report from the city of Los Angeles suggested that the cause of death had been accidental drowning. However, it was included that both heart disease and the use of cocaine had contributed. Bobbi Kristina was devastated and had to be hospitalized from the shock. After some time had passed, Bobbi Kristina opened up to the public about how her mother's death had affected her in the 2012 Lifetime series, The Houstons, On Our Own. That series ran for 14 episodes. Over the course of the series' run, Bobbi Kristina announced that she had become engaged to Nick Gordon. Given that Gordon had once been considered by the public to be Bobbi Kristina's god sibling, many fans were understandably taken aback. As well, there were also those who still felt that the young man was simply a bad influence on Bobbi Kristina. Soon, those people were going to be proven right. Brown's reaction to her mother Whitney Houston's sudden death was described as inconsolable. Just days after the tragic event, she was admitted to Cedars-Sinai Medical Center in Los Angeles, reportedly overwhelmed with grief, according to a family friend. As per Houston's will, Brown inherited her entire estate, which included personal items like clothing, jewelry, cars, and furniture. The will specified that Brown would receive her inheritance in installments, with full access to the $115 million estate by the time she turned 30. In March 2012, Brown spoke publicly about feeling her mother's spirit and expressed her desire to continue Houston's legacy by pursuing a career in singing, acting, and dancing. Her ambitions soon materialized when she landed her first acting role as Tina, the receptionist, in Tyler Perry's TV series For Better or Worse. Perry praised her performance, saying, "She did a fantastic job. She has such a future. As far as she wants to go in the business, she can." Despite rumors that Brown left the set in tears, Perry defended her, stating that those claims were false. Brown also aspired to be cast in Angela Bassett's biographical film Whitney, based on her mother's life. However, when Bassett chose not to cast her, citing that Brown was not a trained actress, Brown reacted angrily on social media, calling Bassett a derogatory term. The incident sparked controversy among fans, though Brown later apologized to Bassett on Twitter. On January 31st, 2015, tragedy struck when Bobbi Kristina Brown was found unresponsive, face down in a bathtub at her home in Alpharetta, Georgia. Nick Gordon and a friend discovered her and immediately began CPR until emergency responders arrived. Brown was alive and breathing when transported to North Fulton Hospital in Roswell, Georgia. Initially, authorities found no signs of drugs or alcohol linked to the incident, but this would later be contested. After doctors assessed that her brain function had been significantly diminished, they placed her in an induced coma, with family members being told that any chance of meaningful recovery would be nothing short of a miracle. Brown remained in hospice care until her death on July 26, 2015, at the young age of 22. Her passing bore an eerie resemblance to her mother Whitney Houston's death, as both were found submerged in a bathtub. The initial autopsy revealed no clear cause of death or significant injuries, leaving many questions unanswered. The Fulton County Medical Examiner's Office stated that further tests would be conducted to determine the exact cause. In the wake of her death, the family released a statement thanking the public for their tremendous amount of love and support over the previous months. Brown's death sent shockwaves through the entertainment world, with condolences pouring in from stars such as Chris Brown, Oprah Winfrey, and Whitney Houston, protégés Brandy and Monica. Her funeral was held on August 1, 2015, at St. James United Methodist Church in Alpharetta, Georgia. 2 days later, Brown was laid to rest beside her mother and maternal grandfather at Fairview Cemetery in Westfield, New Jersey, bringing an emotional chapter of the Houston family legacy to a close. Following the tragic passing of Whitney Houston's daughter, the Houston family expressed their gratitude for the overwhelming support they received from the public. Autopsy report. The Fulton County Medical Examiner's Office undertook a meticulous investigation to uncover the truth behind Brown's untimely death. By analyzing medical records and police investigative files, they pieced together a troubling picture of his final hours. Their findings revealed a concerning cocktail of substances in Brown's system, including marijuana, alcohol, ethanol, benzoylecgonine, a cocaine metabolite, benzodiazepines commonly prescribed for anxiety and sedation, and morphine. These substances led the medical examiner to identify the underlying cause of death as immersion associated with drug intoxication. However, the mystery deepened when they faced difficulties in confirming the manner of death. While it was clear that Brown's death was not due to natural causes, the examiner could not definitively conclude whether it was intentional or accidental. As a result, the manner of death was classified as undetermined, leaving many questions unanswered. Ultimately, the finalized autopsy report revealed that Brown died from lobar pneumonia, shedding light on the intricate circumstances surrounding his passing. This conclusion highlights not just the tragic end of a life, but also the complex interplay of factors that contributed to this heartbreaking event. As we reflect on Brown's story, it serves as a poignant reminder of the fragility of life and the profound impact of substance use. Bobby Christina's family, including her father, Bobby Brown, aggressively blamed Nick Gordon for her death. Although no criminal convictions followed, Gordon was forced to pay $36 million by default in a civil lawsuit after failing to appear. In 2020, Nick Gordon passed away of a drug overdose. He was 30 years old. Later that year, Whitney Houston was posthumously inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Documentaries. Since Whitney Houston's tragic death in 2012, her remarkable life and career have inspired a plethora of documentaries and specials that explore her legacy. One notable film, Whitney, Can I Be Me?, directed by Nick Broomfield, aired on Showtime on August 25, 2017, providing an intimate look at her struggles and triumphs. In a significant development on April 27, 2016, it was announced that filmmaker Kevin MacDonald, known for his work on the acclaimed Amy documentary about Amy Winehouse, would collaborate with the production team Altitude to create a new film about Houston's life and death. This documentary, entitled Whitney, holds the distinction of being the first authorized by Houston's estate. It premiered at the 2018 Cannes Film Festival and was released internationally in theaters on July 6, 2018, offering a comprehensive view of her journey. Additionally, Lifetime released Whitney Houston and Bobby Christina, Didn't We Almost Have It All in 2021, which was described by the Atlanta Journal-Constitution as less an expose and more a loving tribute to these two women. On the 10th anniversary of Houston's passing, ESPN commemorated her iconic performance of the Star-Spangled Banner at Super Bowl 25 in 1991 with a 30-minute documentary titled Whitney's Anthem, further cementing her lasting impact on music and culture, Portrayals. In 2015, Lifetime premiered the biographical film Whitney, which revealed that Whitney Houston was named after prominent television actress Whitney Blake, the mother of Meredith Baxter from the classic series Family Ties. Directed by Angela Bassett, Houston's co-star in Waiting to Exhale, the film featured model Yaya DaCosta in the lead role. Fast forward to April 2020, when it was announced that a new biopic titled I Wanna Dance with Somebody was in the works, promising to be no holds barred. This project was to be spearheaded by Anthony McCartan, the screenwriter behind Bohemian Rhapsody, with Casey Lemons set to direct. The biopic received backing from Clive Davis, the Houston estate, and Primary Wave in collaboration with Sony Pictures and TriStar Pictures. On December 15, 2020, it was revealed that actress Naomi Ackie had been cast to portray Houston. The film opened on December 23, 2022, and quickly made waves at the box office, grossing around $60 million. This made it one of the highest-grossing biopics, centered on a historical African-American female figure, following the success of the Tina Turner biopic, What's Love Got to Do with It? Whitney Houston's legacy often feels overshadowed by the tragedy surrounding her, but her incredible catalog of hits is a testament to her unmatched talent. Drop a comment below and let us know which Whitney song resonates with you the most. Do you think Bobbi Kristina could have carved out her own unique path in the industry? If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and hit that notification bell so you're the first to catch our latest videos.